Now, I have to do this one in two parts because somebody asked me if I would talk about Tubbyland flooding. And I realised that I'd got it wrong. I thought they meant, would they talk about the time that Tubbyland flooded one Easter while we were filming? So I'm going to tell that story first. But then the one I think they actually meant was flooding Teletubbyland at the end of filming. So I'll do that one next. But yeah, it was Easter. It must have been, is it Maundy Thursday that comes before Good Friday? And so we were all really looking forward to having this lovely 4-day bank holiday weekend. Yay! And Poi Fan Lee was filming a solo something or other down in the dome, and it was peeing down with rain. We were all in the Tubby porta cabin, just hanging about, waiting to see if we were needed. And there was there was talk we might get to go home early, but none of us were really believing it. And then Poi comes running back from the dome through the rain, comes into the porta cabin and goes, "The dome is flooded, the dome is flooded." And we're like, what? Yeah, it's all in the electrics and everything. We're going to have to stop filming. Ah! So we were kind of going, oh no, that's awful. The dome is flooded. And also, maybe we get to go at lunchtime. So anyway, that was the truth of it. Because the dome, as you may recall, it was just in the dip, surrounded by hills. So of course, as all the surrounding farmland was getting flooded, all that water was just coming down the hills and straight into the dome. As Poi had said, flooding the electrics, fusing everything. So they tried for a while because the forecast was a bit unreliable. And all the bosses said, well, yeah, if you stay and have lunch and then we'll see how it is in the afternoon. Continuing to just throw down with rain. So we had our lunch and then they just went, no, there's no way we can do any filming. You may as well all go home. We were like, yay! And so we all got in the little minibus which drove us off the actual set to the car park where all our cars were. And then we tried to get off the farmland, could not do that. No. Because where there was ordinarily a cattle grid, which sure enough was down in another dip, it was just this torrent, this river torrent with trees, a bunch of God knows what, all being swish, 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 swish. Very, very dangerous. So none of us could leave. So we'd gone from this kind of, yay, we're getting off early, to we may never leave. Anyway, there was kind of combination of the tractor belonging to the farmer whose farm it was, and also the fire brigade came, and so they were sort of transporting people off, a tiny few at a time, to get through this torrent to try and get away and get home and not have to spend the night in a porta cabin in the pissing rain in the middle of nowhere with no food or anything, because we'd eaten it all. And then there was a taxi waiting. Sorry, this is long, but it is funny. There was a taxi waiting for the four of us Tubbies because, you know, we were the talent, so we got super looked after. There's a guy in the Mercedes who was one of the regular drivers, and he was trying to get us to the station. We couldn't get to Stratford Station, the nearest, because that was all too floody. So then he said, I'll try and get you to Coventry, and you couldn't get up the main road because that was all flooded. And then he tried through these back roads by a place called Hampton Lucy. And there was this big Ford in front of us. I don't mean a car. I mean like a massive amount of water. And there were various other cars parked at either side who'd obviously been trying to go that way and then just stopped going, there's no way I can get through there. And this guy said to us, do you think we can get through? And all four of us just went, no, we can't, no. And he went, I think we can, and just drove into it. So it went, spludge. So then we're in the middle of this lake of dirty water, not being able to get anywhere. And it goes, I just phoned for help on my mobile phone. And then he dropped his mobile, because it was all coming in the car. He dropped his mobile phone in the water in the car. It was like, oh, great. Now we're stuck here, and none of our mobiles had a signal out there. It was early days of that kind of technology. And then these lovely people in a tiny little four-wheel drive thing, kind of a Jeep-ish thing, they kind of came and we would wade through the filthy water to get to them, and the back of their kind of car, it was all full of coal, and they just went, just pile in and we'll take you back to Stratford. So we all piled in. I mean, they were so nice to take us away, but going, you driver, no, screw you, you've already made your own mess, you could just stay here in your flooded murk. And we all drove back to Stratford, and word had gone round, like this is the bar where we're going to meet and decide what we're all going to do. Because by that time, the flooding was so bad, even the people who lived locally, even they couldn't get home anymore. So we just all hang about in the bar, waiting until as many people were going to get there as were going to get there. We kind of had a drink and a bit of a snack and everything. And then Simon Shelton, fabulous Tinky Winky, he said, well, he lived in this place called Clopton House. He had a room up there. Like, it was like one of those things where an old stately home has been turned into different apartments. And it's on a hill, Clopton Hill. It was about, I don't know, mile and a half walk from where we were. And he went, just all come back to mine. So we just all traipsed up the hill and went back to his and hung out. I went to bed quite early, so I don't know how much of a party that turned into. And I woke up the next morning in the spare double bed with Auntie Beth, the wardrobe mistress, next to me. And we decided we were going to try to get back to Tubbylands. And actually most of the other people were out and about. So we got taxis back. It was like nothing had happened. The cattle grid was completely clear and normal. The car park was completely dry. I was just like, what was that? Some crazy dream. And then we all got in our cars and drove back. So, yeah. That is my floody memory of Tubbyland.